Hi, everybody. Happy February 1st. Wow, January was something else. I went into New Year's in the first week going, woohoo! This is a new century. It's going to rock. It's going to be so awesome. And then life happened. And it wasn't awful, but it was challenging and required skills and required being open, and it required trying to find understanding. And I am slowly understanding my strengths and seeing that I can be a strong woman with boundaries and love. But it is a new challenge, and so therefore it's uncomfortable. That's what I've learned more than anything else in this journey, is that I'm just going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to have lots of uncomfortable moments because I grew up being a total people pleaser, and I'm very empathetic because I know what it's like to go without. I know what it's like to be hurting. I know what it's like to feel alone. And so I feel that. It affects me. And it influences me. But it's influencing me less in ways that can harm me. It used to be that your problems would supersede everything that was going on with me, no matter what it was. I could literally be dying in a hospital and you have a splinter in your finger, and that is more important than the fact that I'm dying in the hospital, because that's how my heart works. Now, after years and years of evaluation and education, I understand that that's my empath, and my empath comes from going through my own traumas. So I know what you feel, and then I don't want you to feel bad, and so I sacrifice. But I've been calling that out. I've been saying, hey, watching you make these decisions that are hurting you and that I can't influence because I've tried to influence. I've given recommendations and suggestions. I've offered help, and it's not being taken seriously. Therefore, I'm not helping. And being involved is hurting me. It pains me to watch people hurt. It rips at my heart because I have been alone and hurting and no one's there. And so it stands to reason that if somebody is going through a painful or scary challenge, and I have any ability at all in that moment to alleviate that, I'm going to do that. But that's not always helping. Even talking about this is hard. Setting boundaries is just, for an empath, you are seeing how it makes me feel. It feels like I'm being mean. And I'm not. I'm not being mean. I am doing what I would expect anyone else to do to me if I was in a place where I wasn't really in touch with reality, or I was not being mindful of the other people involved. Oh, dang, I did not intend to cry about this. I just was going to do a video. But it's something that really touches my heart. And I've always been real, so I'm not going to erase it. I'm not going to start over. I'm just going to share where I'm at. It's really a challenge for me to put boundaries in place when it comes to people who are hurting. I feel like I'm adding to their pain by saying, no, you have to do what you said you were going to do, or, oh, you haven't followed through, and so I have to say I'm not going to do that anymore because you aren't doing your part. Silly. For people who don't have this affliction, I'm sure it sounds like, what's the problem here? What's the big deal? But for someone who is a real empath and who has suffered grave traumas through their life and has abundance of empathy and compassion, then those people understand. So it was a rough month, but I did it. And I wasn't cruel or hurtful or making anybody's situation worse when I spoke truth and I upheld boundaries and I honored myself. Yet here I am, and it's still obviously uncomfortable. So that tells me it's just a learning process. It's going to take practice. I have 50 some years of practice of succumbing to everybody's woes and to being the helper and to always putting other people's first before myself. So this is a new arena for me of having boundaries, and really I've tried to have boundaries in the past, and it hasn't gone well because usually I give in. And this time I've just said what my boundaries are, and I've upheld that. It hasn't been comfortable. I'm just going to say it. It hasn't been comfortable. You know, to say, this is how I feel. This is how what you're doing makes me feel. This is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I'm willing to offer. And then negotiating. And my reality thus far has been people that are struggling don't want to negotiate. They just want it fixed. And I can kind of understand that. But the reality is I can only do what I can do, and I'm limited. You know, I'm on Social Security income. I live on $700 a month. I'm not going to save the world with $700 a month. But yet, I still can give. I love to share my abundance, and I do regularly. But boundaries, man. For someone like me who has gone through what I've gone through and is still suffering in a lot of ways. I have a lot of things that really aren't how I really envisioned them or wished for them to be at this point in my life. But it is what it is, and I do the best I can. But then you add on the suffering of others, and I don't have enough to handle that. I'm not that strong. I wish I was. I tried to be. Yeah. So I'm kind of the poster child for being an empath and for battling codependency. I feel like I'm winning. Yet it doesn't feel like being a winner. I don't feel like a winner. I just feel like I'm finally learning how to have boundaries and be okay with being uncomfortable about them. And that's good for me and it's good for you. Just putting band-aids on things for people, that's not helping. Plugging one hole when there's 15 other holes doesn't help. So I can't plug holes and put band-aids on it for people. I can give suggestions on how to actually repair the dam. I can give suggestions on coping mechanisms while things are in repair. But I'm out of band-aids. I am out of band-aids. I ran out of them for myself years ago and went through, holy crap, hell, almost died because the band-aids weren't working for me. So I no longer can do a band-aid for you to try to make me feel better and you feel better. I'll be uncomfortable with you being uncomfortable. That's how I can love you. That sounds so weird, me saying that. But that is how I can help. I will be here to listen. I will still give suggestions. I'm a loving person, but I can't fix it. I give up the cloak of codependency. The empathy in me, being an empath, I'm not really in control of that. I think it just comes with the territory. If you have trauma and you have PTSD, if you have suffered any loss, you care because you understand. You felt it. You know how hard it is. So I don't think I can get over that. But I can't get over being codependent. And I am getting over being codependent. And I'm saying it's not comfortable. I don't like it all the time. But I know it's the best for me and for you. So, who knows what February has in store? I'll tell you my hopes. I'm hoping I get my disbursement from Social Security Disability Insurance because I finally, after 7 years of battling, was granted Social Security Disability. I'm hoping I get my vehicle, my RV, all situated. I need new tires. I need some repairs done so I can hit the road because I have a trip planned with a friend, like a month-long road trip. I have a lot of traveling in this year anticipated. And, I'm not in control of everything, but I'm going to do what I can to make it happen. So I'm hopeful for the rest of the year. And hopefully February and March might not hit me so hard. Because I've had some real hits last month. And January was hard. I had some serious challenges. Things that I can't even talk about really socially. That have really impacted me. So I'm just doing my best. I really am. I'm just doing my best. And I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. Because your best is your best. And my best today comes from understanding of my history. My best today is occurring because I've been open and willing to change. My best today is much more aware than my best 15 years ago was. That's that's like a given, to me anyway. So I guess I would encourage you, if you are struggling with boundaries and if you're struggling with codependency and if you're an empath, I would encourage you to look for people who have learned to live with that well and to follow them. I would encourage you to do all the studying you can on how to set realistic boundaries and be loving while doing so. I encourage you to think about yourself. That's part of being an empath, is we feel. But yet, if you stop and think about how it's going to feel if someone is putting a Band-Aid on something, but then you're screwed still 2 weeks down the road because things haven't changed, someone just put a Band-Aid. Think about that. Maybe you'll be more open, because you got to be willing to change before anything's going to change. And that's one of the big things about being codependent, is realizing that the other party has to be willing to do great changes in order for anything to change. Because you can give them all the advice and all the suggestions and all the recommendations and all the love and all the support that anyone could ever hope for. But if they're too uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, nothing's going to change. Ever. Y'all need to learn how to be okay with being uncomfortable. And that seems to be a real problem with most of the people that I know. We want it fixed right away. And if I can't fix it, then you better fix it. But sometimes things just are. And we just have to be uncomfortable. And I'm learning how to do that better and better. I celebrate when things are awesome, but I can accept when they're uncomfortable. So that's all I got to say for the 1st of February. And who knows what the month has in store. I'm hoping for great things for you and for me.